Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech with Furu. Um, in our previous video, we did decision making in C using the if-else statements, and normally we were supposed to continue that video using the switch case, but I did not want that video to be too long, so I decided to do two separate videos for the decision making. So in today's lesson, we are going to learn about one of the most useful decision-making statements in the C programming language, which is a switch case statement. And by the end of this video, you understand what a switch statement is, its syntax, how it works, and when to use it instead of using the if-else. And we're going to build practical examples together. So the question you're going to be asking me is, what is a switch statement? In programming, we often need to make decisions. For example, if a student scores 90, we print the grade is A. If a student selects option 2, we open the registration page. And normally we can use the if-else statements to achieve that. But if the conditions become too complex or they become too many, then the best thing to use now becomes a switch case statement where we have multiple conditions to evaluate. And so this is the general syntax of the switch case statement. Here you have the keyword switch. Switch here is a keyword. And then we put the expression here. In other words, we could say um, the condition kind of. So we put the expression inside that bracket. And then now we take each case. The case represents a possible value. For instance, when we say case value 1, it means a possible value or a possible condition. Now, the break stops the execution after a particular case. If not, we'll have the code will just run all throughout. Then we have the default. This default here is the particular set of instructions that should be executed should in case 1, case 2, and case 3 did not hold. So how does the switch case works? We're going to illustrate how the switch case works using an using an example. Now, let us suppose that, so let me switch here. Let us suppose that the expression has the value 2. The computer checks, is it case 1? No. Is it case 2? Yes. Then it executes everything inside case 2 until it reaches the break statement, as you see it here. So is it case 1? If it's no, it jumps to case 2. And if it's case 2, it executes everything that is found here until it arrives at the break statement. Then it exits the switch. If no case matches, then it comes down to this default case down here. Now let's take an example. Let's write our first program using the switch case. So normally we do not need the math.h, but I'm just going to leave it there so that we can use it. So let's say int day. Let's call that. Now this program, what this program does is that we want to print out the days of the week. So let's take int day. So let's print f. Enter. Sorry for that. Enter a number between. Enter a number between 1 and 7. We know that there are 7 days in a week, so normally the user should not enter any number greater than 7. So enter a number between 1 and 7. We use our scanf to obtain that number. We use our scanf to obtain that number. Scanf. Since the number is an int, our format specifier is percentage %d, comma ampersand day. Ampersand day. Alright. Semicolon. Now, we're now going to use the switch statement to check. Remember, if we were to use if and else, it means that we're going to be using 6 different if and else statements, but it's going to be easy when we're using switch. So let's start. We take switch day, switch, that is a keyword. We open day, that is now our switch expression. Now we open the braces, we open the braces. Now we're going to have case 1. Case 1. This is a situation wherein the person enters 1. That's why we put 1 way. So case 1 means a day that the value when day becomes 1. So case 1, we print F, we print F, Monday, backslash n, we go out semicolon, sorry, we go out semicolon, and then of course we break. Now I'm just going to copy this and paste. Copy. I'm just going to copy and paste. Control V. Don't bother. I'm going to fix that. Control V. Control V. I don't know if I've done that up to 7 times. So this, we're going to change this to 2. We're going to change this to Tuesday. I'm going to change this to Tuesday. We're going to switch this to case 3, and we're going to change this to Wednesday. I'm going to switch that to Wednesday. Sorry, it's one S. Now we're going to change this to 4, and we're going to change this one to Thursday. Now we're going to change this to 5, and then this guy to Friday. We're going to change this to 6, and this guy to Saturday. And this guy to Saturday. Oh, I'm missing a T. And we're going to change this to 7, and this guy to Sunday. And then let's add one more, which is the default case. Control V. So instead of writing case 1 here, we're going to put default. We're going to put default, which is the default case. Then we're going to just say here that invalid day. This is a situation where a user enters maybe a number that's not between 1 to 7. So alright, so this is a simple way. Let's check the outline. As you can see, you have switch, expression, case value 1, statements, break, and so on, right down to default. So I think we have respected that. Let us go ahead to compile and run and see. Alright, we have 0 errors. Let's wait for it to run. Alright, enter a number between 1 and 7. Let's enter 1. You see the result is Monday. Now let us run the code again and enter, say, 8. Remember, we have 7 days in a week from 1 to 7, Monday right up to Sunday. So if you enter 8, it's going to give us an invalid result. So let's go. You see, invalid. Alright. So this is basically how a switch case works. So we're going to now go into into a more advanced example wherein we are going to build our calculator again using the switch case. All right, guys, before we move into our example, please, I would like to make an important note. You should know that if we remove the break statement, it's going to cause issues. For instance, let's see what happens if we remove the break here. If we remove the break here, let me just comment it out. If we remove this break, let's say I comment it out, I comment this one out, and then we enter one, it's going to run. Let's just compile it and see. Okay, let's enter one. You see, it goes to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That is because the break statement is no longer there. But if we use the break statement, it stops the execution of case one. It stops if in case one is valid, or it stops the execution of case two as long as it is valid. So that is, the break statement is very, very important. That is a note I wanted to make. And so if the situation that occurs when the break is not there is what we call a fall through. So if there is no break, a fall through occurs inside the program. And that is why break is necessary. Now let's take another example, which is building our calculator. And so I'm just going to, okay, I'm just going to clear this out. Let me close this. I'm just going to clear this out, and then we're going to build our calculator. Yes, let me clear it out, and then we're going to build our calculator. In fact, let me just move everything. Okay, let's work on the calculator example now. Now, I hope you guys remember the logic of our calculator. Our calculator has to do four operations: addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So let's start with let's examine our variables. Remember, if we're doing addition on the calculator per se, if we're doing addition on the calculator, we are supposed to, the user is supposed to enter the first variable, let me call it v1, then enters the operator, then enters the second variable v2, right? And then it gives us the result. Not so. Variable operator, variable 1 operator, variable 2, then result. So it means that um, um we're going to be needing a variable to hold variable 1, a container to hold variable 2, and then we're going to be needing choice, you get, and then we're going to do the result. We're going to do the result directly inside the code. All right, so let's get that. Let's start. So we're going to do int. Let's call our operator choice. Or let's say int operator. Yes, let's call operator int operator. I don't know if operator is a keyword, but let's spell it with a capital letter. Int operator. Yes, int operator. Now let's declare our variables. I want to declare them as float because we will be doing division. Float A, that's variable 1, and float B, semicolon, because we'll be doing division, and division could give us a floating point number. So printf, 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 let's see, enter the first number, enter the first number, backslash n, semicolon. Let's get that number using scanf, percentage f, comma, ampersand a. Okay, so let's just get the second number. I'll just copy this so that we'll not waste time. Copy, and then I paste it here, Control V, and then we'll just change this to second number, and let's change this to B. All right, now um let's do this. I'm going to copy this printf statement anyway. Now let's ask the user for the choice. Printf, enter, printf, enter an operator, printf, enter an operator, backslash n, semicolon, printf, semicolon, printf, enter an operator, semicolon, backslash n. I just want to make a kind of, okay, now let's give the users the various choices. Printf, the user should one for addition, one for addition, backslash n, semicolon. So I'll just copy this and paste, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. So 2 for subtraction, 3 for multiplication, 4 for division, 4 for division. So 3 here and 4 here. All right, so the user can now enter their choices. So we get num1, as you can see. Put the space here. We get num1, as you can see. We get our num2. We ask the user to enter the operator, and then if the user enters 1, it means the user is intending to do division. If the user enters 2, it means the user intends to do subtraction. 3, the operator is multiplication, and 4, the operator is division. Now let's use scanf to get that choice, to get the operator. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. Scanf, Control V. Since our operator is an integer, so we use percentage %d ampersand operator. Remember, I spelled my operator using capital O. The reason is because operator seems to be a keyword in C. If you use a small letter, it becomes bold. Okay, now this is where we work on the logic. Now this is where we implement the switch. So we're going to put switch. Our expression will be operator. So our expression in the switch is operator. Switch operator. Now we open our brackets, switch operator. Now we're going to start with case 1. Case 1. That is the situation where the person enters 1. What should happen if the person enters 1? So if the person enters 1, sorry for that. It's supposed to be a colon, not a semicolon. Switch case 1, printf, printf, we open that. Result is equals to percent 0.2f, percent 0.2f, backslash n. We go out, comma, we take a plus b. Remember, we do not do. There is another way we can do this. We can still declare result and we put case 1 result equals to this printf result. You get. So I'm just doing the addition directly inside, semicolon, and then we break. I'm just going to copy this and paste it 5 times. I'm just going to copy and paste it 5 times. Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. I don't know if I've done that up to 5 times. Alright, so we're going to change this to 2. Result equals A minus B. Result equals A minus B. We're going to change this to 3, and result will be equals to A times B for multiplication. But I want to change this to 4, and result will be equals to A divided by B. Alright, so let's remove this space. There is something we need to do. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So let's change this last case to default. Let's change this to default. Remove this break here. Alright, we change it to default and we put invalid operator. Invalid operator. So there's no need having you there. Backslash n. Alright, guys, let's test it. We have to modify this code, usually at the level of division. At the level of division. But I'm going to give you that challenge later. So let's first of all test it basically to see if it's working. Alright, let's compile and run. Alright, enter the first number. Let's enter, say, 3. Enter the second number. Let's enter 4. Enter an operator. 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction, 3 for multiplication. Let's do multiplication. So I'm going to enter 3. Result is 12 because 3 times 4 is 12. So our calculator is working. But now, let's try out something. Let us suppose that if you look at this, come down to this code on line 32, line 33, sorry. You will see that for division, we're doing A divided by B. Let us imagine that B is 0. Let's imagine that B is 0, right? So let's enter 0. Then you see what I'm talking about. So let's run the code again. And our option this time will be 4. My computer is becoming slow. All right, let's enter the first number. Let's enter, say, 6. Enter the second number. Let's enter 0. Enter choice. Let's enter 4 for division. Result is equal to that. You see that this result is not making sense. What I've just highlighted is not making sense. So it means that there is a problem and we have to fix that. And that is because we're attempting to do division by 0, which is an invalid operation. Therefore, we need to fix it. Let's come down to this line and try to modify it. So I'm just going to put a simple if statement here. I'm going to say that if, open a bracket, b is equals to, is not equal to 0. Let's do it that way. If b is not equal to 0, if b is not equal to 0, printf answer is this, right? Else, else, printf, else, printf, math error. People know what math error means, right? Division by 0. So printf math error, backslash n. So let's try to indent this. Yeah. Let me indent this. So if b is not equal to 0, printf, the result is that. Else, print math error. This else means that if b is equal to 0. So let's try it again and see. And expected that before. Oh, okay, this. I did not put a semicolon here. Sorry. All right. Okay, here it comes. This guy is slow. Okay, enter the first number. Let's enter 6 again. Enter the second number. Let's enter 0. Enter an operator. We choose 4 for division to test if our code is working. If you look at our result now, our result is showing math error. Why? Because b is 0 and division by 0 is not possible, so it's a math error. So this is one of the most common real-world uses of the switch statement. So having learned this, I want us to compare the two. When do we use if else? We use if else when comparing ranges, using logical operators, working with complex conditions. And then we use switch when comparing one variable, when we're checking for exact values, maybe when we're creating menus, because you see I created a menu. So if you want to create a menu system in C, you can use the switch case. Then we also use the switch case when we want to improve readability of our code. Now, what are some of the limitations of the if else? Sorry, what are some of the limitations of the switch statement? Please, you can pause this video and write your answer in the comment section, telling us what are some of your limitations, or what are some of the limitations with the switch case. The first one is that it cannot check ranges. For instance, you cannot say, when we say it cannot check ranges, what I mean is that you cannot say that case score, for instance, let's say we're checking score, case score is greater than 50. You cannot do something like this. This is supposed to be a column. You cannot do something like that. So you cannot check a range using the switch case. So you can use the switch case when the value is exact. So it is equal to 50. It cannot be greater than 50. It cannot be less than 50. It should be equal to 50. The next, um, case must contain constant values. A case must contain constant values. That's the second limitation of the switch case. It must contain constant values. For instance, if you look here, I cannot say um, I can only say case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, right up to case 10. The expression is usually an integer or a character type. So those are the few limitations that come with using if else. So guys, thank you for watching. And I just want to let you know that if you master the switch statement, it will help you to write cleaner and more organized C programs when building menu-driven applications. So if you are building a menu-driven application, the switch case, it is very important. So if you find this tutorial helpful, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Tech with Forum, and turn on the notification bell so you will never miss our C programming series. And in our next lesson, guys, we're going to be looking at loops in C. That is, we're going to be looking at the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loops. And then we're going to learn how to repeat tasks efficiently. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding!